This is the Aces Up Your Sleeve podcast, and we're the Aces Up Your Sleeve in relationships, from romantic to workplace, parental to platonic, your relationship with yourself, and everything in between. Let us, two autistic aspec kinky therapists, be your secret weapon in neurodivergent life.
This is your disclaimer. This is not therapy or therapeutic advice, and we are not on the clock. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is not a replacement for therapy. What you'll hear are our thoughts on different topics, what we might do in the situation, and how we've supported others through similar things. And welcome to the Aces Up Your Sleeve podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina.
I'm your other host, Cade.
And we have a super exciting episode today because we've got a wonderful guest with us to talk about the asexuality spectrum and being Black, ace, and sexualized. Alicia, or Lici Rodgers, otherwise known as your girl Lici on Instagram and TikTok, is a Southern Mississippi graphic designer and watercolor artist. She's a self-described Arrow Ace, ADHD, semi-professional yapper. She has spent the past 2 years creating content and providing commentary on asexual and aromantic representation in popular culture. Her social media platforms strive to help the asexual and aromantic communities advocate for more diversity in aro and ace representation on screen, in books, and more. In addition to posts about representation and intersectionality, Lici creates some content to make you laugh. She currently resides on the Mississippi Gulf Coast with her family. Welcome.
Yes, hello. Thank y'all for having me, both Sabrina and Kate. Happy Disability Pride Month. I hope y'all are having a safe summer, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah, happy Disability Pride Month.
We're excited to have you with us. We love your content on Instagram, so it'll be nice to have you here to help answer some listener questions.
Certainly.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely happy to help, and it's crazy because people don't think that their voice like matters to people until you put yourself out there. So I'm definitely happy to help and lend my voice to people that may not feel seen. So that's what we're trying to do. And I'm just happy to be here with you.
That's my favorite part about your content is that like a lot of it focuses on like representation specifically, which as we all know is really, really important. But I think especially that intersection of like Black asexuality gets so left out. Like if there is any ace representation, so often it's white folks. And like with the Black, especially woman experience of like being hypersexualized, like we get lost in the shuffle, you know?
Yes. And especially when it comes to like a lot of not even just like we know our representation is very lacking when it comes to just regular media, but still even queer media, they don't seem to understand us. And people struggle a lot with integrating our representation
Mhm.
into media. But what I see from like books and old TV shows and seeing our creators out there, like asexual and aromantic people creating representation for us, it is so possible. I don't understand why people are trying to make it harder than it is.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Well, that actually leads us into our first question. What is gray ace or gray sexuality? How do I know if that's the right term for me? I feel like a lot of them are similar. Like, is demi technically gray ace? Does gray mean I'm on the asexuality spectrum, or is gray a spectrum too? So I guess our first listener just hasn't seen themselves and doesn't know exactly what this label means or where they might fall in relation to it.
And that is actually a really great question. As most people may not know, I am demisexual. So that is part of the asexual spectrum, which a lot of people like to use the split attraction model, where it goes from all the way from asexual, which is little to no or complete lack of sexual attraction, all the way to allosexual, which is, of course, going to be on the opposite side of the spectrum. And that gray ace, the base of the term is almost like directly in the middle when it comes to a lot of people.
So, like, if it's black and white, it would be gray in the middle.
Yes, so that perfect gray area. But as we know, some people can be a little bit more Payne's gray. They got a little more black over there. They got a little bit more white. But of course, this is all like really simple terms for it. And that's where the cupule sexual, the apothosexual, which is complete zero lack of attraction sexually, that can go for me being demisexual after like years of feeling this type of way. Like I knew when I learned about asexuality, I wasn't completely apothexual. So when I learned about demisexual and looked on my past relationships, I knew that fit me because I do need an emotional bond to really feel that type of attraction to someone. And through my doing journey, because I came out back in 2016, um, actually no, 2015, because it's about 10 years anniversary last year. I am still learning about it. There's so many things. So, getting started learning about that, my best place for resources would be Aria. There's so many creators out there who will share their experiences being on the asexual spectrum. So,
Cool.
hope that does like answer some questions. But for me, I'm a huge book reader. Aria just put out the other A in the LGBTQIA plus, which
Hmm.
even though it's a romantic book, it has so many resources for asexuals as well.
Nice. We'll have to link that in our show notes. Yeah.
So it's sounding to me, and I love having an artist on here to discuss the gray sexuality right here. The Payne's gray, right? Like the different nuance.
That's my favorite gray, actually. I love using it.
It's such a nice gray. But it sounds like to you, Demi and gray are kind of similar. Like there's like they maybe occupy somewhere in the middle between complete asexual and complete allosexual. Is
Yes.
that
And looking at the definition for gray ace, it is where you can have sexual attraction, but it can be kind of sporadic. It may not
Mhm.
always be an emotional bond like demisexual. It may not always be a stranger bond, which is I want to say it's lithosexual, which is the exact opposite of demi on the spectrum. So, like, you have opposites while on the asexual spectrum as well. Just keep looking at those definitions, listening to others share their experiences, and you might find people that resonate with you.
That has been one thing that I have found on my, like, journey as well, like, the way that I first started kind of playing around with the idea of asexuality was a podcast that I found that I, like, have never been able to find again, on YouTube one night with people talking about, like, what asexuality could be and not just, like, a complete repulsion from sex, right? Like, sex repulsed, but a lot of nuance and things like that, and then almost every time that someone makes a post about asexuality, just last month in Pride Month, right? There's like all these flags. And every time I'm like, well, what is that flag? Ooh, what is this? Like, and there's like more nuance and more names. And I love it because it's like, oh, right, there is no right way. And what that means is that there are tons and tons and tons of right ways. And there is likely a community of people who have found the exact thing that you're like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I just have this weird thing about me that I like things like this. And it's like, oh no, there's so many people who like things like that there's a flag about it actually and a name for it. And that's lovely.
Yes. I remember during ACE week last week, I tried to showcase like at least like five different labels and flags underneath the asexual spectrum, which are lesser known. And I want to say the echiosexual one is the one I actually still get comments to this day about. It's like, oh, gee, mind blown. And I'm like, that is the feel. That is what I want to see. That's what I like to hear. Like, so hopefully, if you find that, I definitely want to check that out because I love Ace podcast and love listening to people like that and like y'all as well.
If I ever find it again, I will definitely send it your way. It was a really good and I just like I wasn't paying attention to the name. It just like happened to be in the like little YouTube like sidebar thing. Good happenstance.
Yes, serendipity.
Mhm.
Well, our next one is I'm new to understanding myself as ace or gray or something, and I feel really stuck. Is there really no representation for us out there? I can't even figure out where I fall on the spectrum, and I just feel so lost without a blueprint. Where do I find my gray ace people?
Mm.
Ooh. If they want some book recommendations, I do have a few. I actually just got done with one this morning. It made me cry. I read two last year. If someone wants more cozy, where it has like a exes to lovers vibe for demisexuality, it would be Exes and Foes by A.M. Woody. I really hope that I got the name right for that one, but that one was so cute and it has teenage hijinks, saboteur, best friends, and arrow ace and non-binary representation as well. The one that was, even though a lot of people like it as a fan favorite, but it's a trilogy of absolute insanity, would be the Foxhole Court, which features a demisexual but not explicitly stated character. A lot of people would actually like to see more like not explicitly stated because most people want to resonate with the experience and not just like, oh, I'm demisexual and here's how I'll explain inside the book. So this is one that was recommended to me. It's absolute insanity. But if people enjoy the ride, they might resonate with the demisexual main character. Another one for Christmas lovers would be Kiss Her Once for Me, which is bisexual and demisexual representation.
I love that.
Oh, it was so cute and cozy. It was perfect for Christmas, based inside Portland. So if people enjoy a more like Christmas in the mountains, Hallmark lesbian romance, that one's a one I would recommend. And lastly would be Kiss Her Maybe, which is Latina and gray sexuality more explicitly stated and explored in that one. So if you want one that's more spelled out, has more questions that you want to have like actually answer, like, hey, what if I'm on the gray sexual spectrum? You can
Mhm.
like Googling. Someone actually talks about that, like, and they're a TikToker, which I actually really enjoyed because it's like, oh yeah, I came out as asexual on TikTok. Oh God. Those are my faves that I would recommend for gray aces and for demis as well.
Think that that's where a lot of folks get stuck is there's like this whole big romance. I mean, most of book talk is romance books and these kind of relationship driven stories.
Mhm.
But then it does get, at least for me, it gets really hard because I'm like, I don't really want to listen to your sex scene. Like that's not where my particular ace heart lives. And so I'm here for like your relationship and the like communication and the bond that you build, and then I can be open to, right? Again, so kind of demi in my own reading experience. And so it sounds like a lot of these get to explore that a little bit.
Yes. The latest one, which is Here We Go Again, which is by the same author as Kisser Once From Me, Alex and Cochran. This one was a bit heavy. It includes death of a main character, which can be really intense and how they go about that because it's a terminally ill character, but also disability rep. There's two types of ADHD in here and dual point of view from those two characters that I know a lot of people will resonate with, especially on the ADHD spectrum. If people want to carry some tissues with them to listen to it, I highly recommend Here We Go Again.
I also will add, um so my recommendation is a little bit complex, but the very first book in a weird series by my favorite author is Every Heart a Doorway, and the main character in that is Ace. So the whole plot of like the series is the magical doors that children go through. So like the door to Narnia or the door to like these different magical lands. We meet our main character as she has just come back. So she was in her magical land, which was the land of the dead, and she's now back and she wants to get back to her land, but she's like stuck. And so it's like a boarding school for kids who have come back from these magical lands but want to go back there and feel distress of being back on Earth. Anyway, so it's convoluted, and the whole series does not stick on her. So like every other book is at the boarding school, and then the other book will be in the land with one of the kids, and then back at the boarding school, and then back in the land with the other kids, and then back and forth like that. It is not my favorite fat rep ever in this series, so I'll name that. But there are trans characters, there are Black, brown, and Asian characters. There is a fat character. She's just not my favorite rep of a fat character. And our main character in the first book, and actually in the most recent book, is Ace. And so we also get to see what happens when maybe someone gets a bit of a crush on her and she does or does not have reciprocal feelings and experiences with that. So I love it. It's one of my favorites. That author is one of my favorites. It's Shannon McGuire. Her other series that I really, really love is October Day. And none of the characters in there that I can think of right now are explicitly Arrow Ace, but her stories are also not like super focused on the sexual part of their relationships and more on the like actual relationships between people. And so I really appreciate that.
I need to. That sounds freaking amazing, and I need that learn that book because it
Very
sounds
fun.
like whimsy, and I need
It's
that right
very
now.
whimsical. Yeah, it's very whimsical, and like Shannon McGuire is a great author if you just need lots of books. Like so she has 4 or 5 different series I think running right now, and on her Patreon she writes at least one short story a month, and she releases a book in each series every year, and I mean the girl writes. The girl writes. She writes. She loves it, and I love it for her. She's autistic, so I guess it's probably her special interest. What's nice is like I think we're on like book 13 or 14 for Wayward Children series, which is Every Heart a Doorway, and we're on book like 20 or something for October Day. And then she just came out with book 4 for another like she just got all these things. She's got a cryptid series, Encrypted. It's all the stuff, but her ace rep is my favorite in the Wayward Children series.
Okay, I need to check that
Yeah,
out.
for sure.
The books that you all are recommending, would you say that those are good for teens, adults, kind of a mix? Like, what do you feel?
Mine is definitely like Wayward Children is definitely like teen to young adult to adult friendly. Yeah.
For my book, Exes and Foes is for teens. Even like for like, I can recommend it for middle school up to senior in high school, and then all the rest of them are like college student to early 30s, actually. Especially the Allison Kaufman ones, they range from ages 25 to 35.
It's
So
like the ages of the characters.
yes. And
Nice.
it's also some elderly queer rep too, which I think is really great. Because
Mhm.
want that type of like want to see like features and complications of being queer and growing old.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
I think that that representation is so important too, that, when you're younger and you don't see anyone like yourself as an elder, you don't know they exist, it's so hard to envision what life could look like or that there could be life for you. So, love hearing that there's some of that older representation out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially when like the hard reality is that the queer community doesn't have enough like living elders, right? Especially in the trans community, there's just like not as many elders as there absolutely should be. And so I'm glad that there are some books with that representation.
Yeah, especially for asexuals, because the whole like thing is like, oh, I'm gonna die alone. Well, you
Mhm.
have to grow old alone first, and you need to see how that can be or navigate. I did make a post about like ages from 25 up for asexual characters for people to see. There was some TV shows like little ones like Viserys from Game of Thrones to like 200 years old from like the Keeper of Lost Spirits. He's
Mm.
200 years old, immortal in Irish, and having to live that long and making connections. Oh my goodness. While also dealing with the dead, which I
Mhm.
think is also very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, so hopefully that will be some good places to start for folks as like Ace and Gray like blueprint representation.
Yeah. Our next one is I'm a sex repulsed black ace femme, and I'm so damn tired of being hypersexualized. It makes me feel gross, and I get that it's gross for everyone, but it feels extra gross to me. Does anyone else feel this way, and how can I stop it?
Mm.
Me, I'm not a sex repulsed asexual. That's one of the things I learned really quickly. But being hypersexualized still is such a struggle. Like for me, I'm like more of like a curvy like person. I've been curvy my whole life and sexualized from a very young age inside South Mississippi. So it's such a struggle to compound that with being asexual because you don't want to be that person, but people have that perception of you because we heard of the sapphire trope and the Jezebel trope, but then you have to combat the mammy trope on top of that.
Mhm.
It's like you trying to find that sweet spot. So yeah, I definitely relate in a lot of ways because you don't want people to have that perception thinking that you may want sex just because you're a black person.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd say that my sex repulsivity like changes but based on the situation or depending on kind of what's going on. And I definitely find it like very uncomfortable to be like hypersexualized by I also like think I had like C cups in like third or fourth grade. I've been 5'7" since like elementary or early middle school. And so like I just kind of had all my growth spurts very, very young. And it's weird. It was super weird as a kid, but even as a 30-year-old, it's uncomfortable and strange. I think one of the best ways to stop it is probably to say, no, gross. don't say that about my body. Being away from people who do that as much as you can. There was, like, something that we posted that, like, got some annoying body comments and things like that on it, and so I just, like, sat and had a block party, like, blocked, 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 blocked.
because protecting your peace.
Mhm. I will also block if anyone makes, like, body comments on someone else's. So, like, if I go into your comment section and somebody is, like, acting up, you can handle it however you want. I'm gonna block that person, and that way they never have the chance to find me and to make those comments on me. And so that's how I kind of protect myself in online spaces, is just, like, whether they're anti-fat comments, whether they're racist comments, whether they're sexualizing comments, I just block literally all of them to try to mitigate that as much as I can. I think it is really gross. And it's, one of the reasons why I think that there's not really ever a reason to comment on someone's body who has not explicitly asked you to comment on their body. Sexualization is commenting on someone's body. If you have to think and feel that way, then you have to think and feel that way, but you don't have to share it with anyone else. It's weird.
Like those boundaries, because people like try to take away a lot of bodily autonomy when it comes to Black women and girls,
Mhm.
and that try to have like those pre-notions like, oh, she's fast and that she's this just because her body is changing faster than others, especially when it comes to the Black community. Like, yeah, a lot of us typically have more curves than other races, but that does not mean we should have to over police ourselves for other people's comfortability. And so practicing those boundaries and really communicating that, and also communicating with your friends that, because I
Mhm.
remember recently, one of my friends, they're like, okay, we might want like this person was trying to make like a comment towards you because he saw you online and we told them to stop that ish. So having a strong support group that also will enforce your boundaries when you're not able to defend yourself is
Mhm.
also so important. And I'm very blessed to have a friend group like that who will stick up for me even when I'm not there.
It's really important, and I also think, like, remembering that boundaries are not what you say to someone, they're what you do. And so, like, if you keep making these comments, and I think especially for people who are asexual but still are interested in either a romantic relationship or a queer platonic relationship or whatever, like, the apps, I think, are one of those places where, like, most of the comments will come in and they're gonna be some form of sexualizing in weird ways. And so, like, being really explicit both in your profile and then also just, like, again, blocking and deleting. Like, if you can't even do what I said in here, which is, like, I don't want any body comments as the first thing that you say to me. Like, I want to talk to you and I do not want to be sexualized. If then the first thing you say to me is like, "Hey, hot stuff," that's literally not what I said was I was okay with. And so I'm not gonna reply to you. I'm not gonna let this go further. My boundary is not don't do it. My boundary is you are now blocked. We're not gonna talk
Correct.
anymore, right?
And like those filtered keywords, lifesavers. Okay,
Mm.
those save my sanity.
Yes, absolutely. So what you're talking about there for folks who might not know is that you can go in on a lot of different social media platforms and literally block certain words from coming up, like from being commented on your stuff. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then also from like coming up and being shown to you.
Yeah, we'd been talking about that with a different friend who also owns a business and uses Instagram, and she had suggested, "Oh, just block whatever words they're using to comment negatively on your physical appearance." And it can be tough sometimes because to say the word fat is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you block it, you won't see any of the like fat folks that are trying to connect with
Yeah.
you. It's
Hmm.
so tough. Yeah.
And also, like, not everyone is like, someone told me at one point, like, more treadmill, less nose ring, which is a, like,
How would you
Disney
block?
Channel level insult. Can we just start there? Like, I need you to get way more on it, my love. That's not original or creative or funny. But
Mhm.
yeah, how do you block that? Because, like, I'm not gonna block nose ring. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And so, but when you can, like, I do think that, like, blocking words like sex, blocking words like breast, chest, ass, like, whatever, things that you think that people are commenting on that feel like lewd and gross to you, I do think that that can be really powerful and help out a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, establishing those like word boundaries so they know not to cross it. Because some people will see that their comment doesn't show up and they might try to reword it in a way.
Mhm.
And sometimes I've received a couple of weird DMs where it's like, "Oh, well, I was trying to, like, just talk about this, and, like, I wasn't trying to be, like, offensive, or I was just coming from a place of pure, genuine curiosity or even admiration," which is great, but that kinda is great because that gives them time to step back and really think about how their words can come off to someone on the internet,
Yeah,
because we can't really sense their tone most of the time, so you don't know if someone's trying to be respectful or is trying to, again, like, make a pass. Yeah.
absolutely. I'll also say my, one of my number 1 big ones, and this is works online or in person, um, I'm a showstopper. So if you come up here trying to say something that I don't like, I'll just throw some like facts about racism at you in a way, like because like anti-fatness and racism and hypersexualization of black women and racism and misogynoir, like all these things, like so I will just like huck a like, hey, did you know that that's actually this, this, and this? And that usually stops people in their tracks pretty quickly. To be like, yeah, like there's actually a big part of like the whole system of hypersexualizing black bodies and black women's bodies specifically, that has to do with like racism. And where do you think that like all of those people who used to literally try to enslave other people, but then ended up with mixed children, how do you think that that ended up happening? Oh, right, it's, and you just like go into a diatribe about it, and
Right.
people are like, I just don't want to engage with you anymore. It's like, great, I didn't want you to anyway.
For real.
Yeah, I
It's
will
like,
just
"Oh,
info
no."
dump on you until
Yeah,
you
it's a
shut up and leave me
win-win,
alone.
like, let me, like, just dunk on you real quick.
Exactly, exactly. So that's one of, just like be insufferable. Be insufferable is one of my favorite ways to get people to leave me alone.
Be loud and unapologetically, yourself and knowledgeable, because knowledge is power in, like, more ways than one, and I love
Yes,
that.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Okay.
Feels like everybody's questions have been answered pretty thoroughly. I
Yeah.
did want to circle back a little because there is one other way to interpret the question about where do I find my gray ace people? And I wonder, outside of just media representation, do we all have any tips for folks who want to build community or find friends?
I found Lici on Instagram and I just like
Yeah.
put in your comments like, if you want to talk more about this, I got a podcast where you can do do
That's exactly what happened too. It was so funny because I was like, there's a lot of anti-Blackness inside this community, and I'm tired. I'm over it. And that's exactly what happened. And what's kind of interesting about it is I make certain videos to be a platform for others to find things. Like, you're not, when it comes to what I do, I don't just make a platform for demisexual people. I don't just make a platform for sexual post aces. I don't just make a platform for arrow aces. There's certain videos that I actually want to create so people can see themselves and others
Mhm.
onto the comment sections and on the videos. Like, for instance, I made a post about being like a sex positive aro ace. And I had there was like dozens of comments. I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes!" And then someone shared their story about being on the Aries spectrum while also enjoying being a casual. And they're like, "Holy cow, I didn't know that!" And it's like, "Oh yes, let's be friends." And it's like, "Oh, look at that! Look at them, they're talking." Um, but also, there is slowly gaining traction for friendship and dating sites for asexual and aromantic people. I recently shared that, and one of them reached out to me called asexuals.net and a space love. So you could put in like your preferences, what you're trying to look for, looking for friendships, and of course like location. So if you want like more like a dating experience without the terrible the terrible like sexualization, those would be ones I would recommend.
Awesome.
That's
We'll add
awesome.
those in the show notes too. Maybe we can find that post that you made and link to that
Yeah,
directly.
I'll
Yeah.
send it because I think that was really helpful for people because they kept asking me questions. They're like, "Oh, why isn't there like an ace dating app?" I'm like, "There's actually like several."
I think a lot of the queer ones too have a little bit more space for that in general, which can be helpful. But there are also a lot of queer folks who don't make a lot of space for ace folk.
So we just try to like create spaces for ourselves because you never know, like someone might be struggling with finding those connections, and then you like kind of like open up your space for that. But like it can be like taking responsibility into your own hands to try to make that space for others. I'm still looking for more. because there should be more out there. I know Reddit's really popular for a lot of aces,
Mhm.
but I also seen some other uh, Reddit forums that can be a little bit exclusive.
I have a harder time with Reddit. I tend to do most of my social media ing on Instagram and Facebook because 'cause I'm old, I guess. And
Age. We're the same age. Well, I turned 29 in August.
okay, well, I turned 30 in February, so but, just I will say, like, I think taking up space and, like, whatever that ends up looking like is the only way to do it, right? You have to be vulnerable and like you said, be in someone's comments and comment on someone else's thing and connect and say like, hey, like I'd love to message you and talk more about this and see what maybe comes of like direct messaging folks or in the queer spaces that maybe don't immediately have aces at the forefront, you can still go into a Facebook group that's for like I'm in a lot of like black queer neurodivergent women groups
Yes. Wait, we
because
might be in the
that's
same group, girl. Wait.
seems likely. It seems likely. There's not like a huge amount of them, but there are some. And so
Yes.
like just go up and be like, hey, aces selfies. Let's all put selfies up and let's hype each other up and maybe you end up connecting with someone there. Like I have made a lot of my good friendships. I met Cade on Facebook. I met my partner on Facebook. I found my job, which I love on Facebook. Like I think that there's a lot to be said about finding and making community online. Um, you just have to be willing to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there.
Yes.
It is the only way to do it. And that's going to be true in person or online. And so I think that's going to be the main piece, no matter how or where you want to do it. You do have to be willing to kind of take that first step and say, "Hi, this is me. I am interested in connecting."
Yep, because you know that old saying, a closed mouth does not get fed. So,
True.
Certainly not. Certainly not. Nor does it make any friends because it's not
for
talking or
real.
saying anything.
Be like my twin sister, she actually started doing this, which I found absolutely adorable. It's called Happy Mail. And that's also through like Facebook. And when I tell you the creativity that people are just willing to go out and do and share with people, is so amazing. And I think Happy Meal started in the midst of COVID for because people are wanting to have make those connections. Not
Mhm.
everyone's gonna be on Animal Crossing or not everyone's gonna be like a booze ninja if y'all heard about like those booze fairies, which I was that. That was absolutely insane. I loved it. Um, just putting yourself out there just to like make a friendship is
Mhm.
so important. Like even if you may think you're not able to. Like sometimes you could just be like creating and you don't have that much mobility. They could pick up the mail for you. And I think that's really important as well, especially like for like a lot of like queer people who may be disabled, may have mobility issues, or can't get around because they're younger, stuff like that. Being on the internet or just like having those connections, just putting yourself out there is really important.
Definitely.
That's neat. So for Happy Mail, I haven't heard of that before. Is it folks signing up to like pick up and deliver mail? Is it folks sending each other mail?
People are sending each other mail like pen
Oh,
pals. It's so
that's
cute.
awesome.
I'm stealing her stickers. I've been stealing her stickers. Um and I used to make watercolor cards, especially for like people in need and in funeral homes, making
Mhm.
coping with colors as therapy for people. That has been so great. So honestly, I need to probably get into that because I like making bookmarks when I'm bored. I have like literally like a stack of paper um, that my job gave me, and so I just doodle on it in my free time. So I probably will send those off as well.
I love it.
Also, oh, I was just gonna ask for listeners who want to join in and do Happy Mail, is there a place that they would go to like find the pen pal? And could they specify that they're ace and looking for someone who also is ace?
Yeah, there is queer ones, there is witchy ones, there's anime lovers. You can find through Facebook. You find the person that you want to like make a mail for, and they could send that out. It's like, oh, I'm looking for this type of happy mail, and this is my vibe. Like this, like I like personally. So yeah, it could be queer specified. That actually would be really cute to actually make up. Now
Like a
that
Well,
little
maybe we'll link
specifically
it.
ace one.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll
I
link it in the show
would.
notes and maybe we can make it happen.
Yes, OMG. So that was
Love
really
that.
fun, like a straight arrows mailing as well. Just
Mhm.
great. Now my mind's whirling again.
Mhm. I love it. I love the idea. One of my best friends does like pen pal stuff and like super cute cards and stuff. And I love card making, but I'm really bad at mailing things. And so I have Cade's Christmas card that I made sitting upstairs along with the box of like stuff that I have just accumulated that I want to give to Cade, but it all is in a box upstairs instead of having been mailed at any point in the last year. So I always love the idea of pen palery, but I know that I will fall short.
Oh, yeah, I'm the same way. My best friend, he lives in Louisiana, and sometimes we get to see each other. We get to meet up for usually like birthday parties and anime conventions. And I had like his mail. I every time I just bought him a birthday gift, I would keep putting in a box in my car. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I drive by like 5 post offices and I forget.
Yep. It never comes to fruition,
And
unfortunately.
he will bring me my stuff, too, because we also both forget, and it's like, crap. It's like, "Oh, well, we're both gonna be at each other's friend's birthday party. Here's your gift, and here's their
Mhm.
gift." I was like, "Yeah, here's your gift."
Yep. That is definitely in person is the way to get things from me. I definitely have to go because one of the tiers of our Patreon, they get mail from us from time to time. And so I'm next up to do a mailing. And little secret, I love wax sealing things, and I found a wax sealing that has our like logo, like the little heart with the yeah, it's very cute. Like the heart with the like infinity symbol. And
She
so I'm like excited to make it, and then it will force me to go to the mailbox because our Patreons deserve the things that they signed
Yeah,
up for. And maybe Cade will also get his stuff. We that remains to be seen. But it's
you
definitely
hear
a
it
fun
here.
idea.
You hear it here. She's putting that reminder in there to
Yes.
make sure that kid
Exactly.
receives their
Yep. You
stuff.
can hold me
Yes,
accountable to that one.
yes.
It'll happen.
Well, speaking of our Patreon, we're going to hop over there to record some exclusive bonus content. It's for Hit Me Again, which is now streaming on a private podcast stream for our paid members. So you'll be able to access that if you're over there. If you're not yet, tiers start as low as $4 a month, and your support helps us fund the main podcast. We're going to go talk about being ACE plus, so ACE and other marginalized identities and our experiences. Probably hear a little more about how you've made community on Instagram, because I think that is of interest to a lot of our listeners. Like, how do we find others that we can connect
Mhm.
with? So
Definitely. Thank you so much for listening. We really enjoy getting to have guests on and getting to talk about fun things. So we hope this episode brought some new interesting perspectives to you. Our new episodes release weekly on Tuesdays. You can find Lici over at her Linktree, linktr.ee. I don't Linktree. It's Linktree, y'all. Slash your girl Lici, which is YAGIRLLICI. You can find Cade at Cryptid Learns. You can find me. I changed my socials. So I'm at The Radical Insights now over on Facebook or Instagram. You can add a .com to Cade's Cryptid Learns, or you can go to radicalinsightsconsulting.com for my website. You can follow the podcast on Facebook or Instagram at Aces Up Your Sleeve Pods. You can interact with us and see when new episodes release. If you have questions for us, we want them. We eat them up like pie. Yum. Visit neurokink.org/AUYS and send your questions to us to eat up like pie. Yum. Okay, we're going to see you on Patreon. Bye.